there any chance that he brings in Pithing Needle as a way to deal with the sacrifice outlets, or is that just too cute and not really
I don't think the sacrifice outlets are worth an entire card.
Yeah.
You know, Cartel Aristocrat is really the only sacrifice outlet is Cartel. Like, I think the only sacrifice outlet is Cartel Aristocrat.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think that's worth a card. Possibly Lot Left Troll is worth a card if he has a lot of trouble dealing with it, but you'd really rather just Detention Sphere it. You know, or you have enough Azorius Charms that Lot Left Troll is actually a little bit of a liability to put counters on. I don't see anything that I want to needle enough to bring them in.
Yeah. So it looks like Derek, who's on the play, has kept his 7, and Robert is mulliganing to 6 here, and we're going to see if he's found an acceptable 6 or not.
So some people asked about Cedric. Cedric Phillips 3-0 right now. We saw him come by, currently piloting a green-red aggro deck, splashing black. We got to see him round 1. We'll possibly see him on camera again. I mean, clearly if he keeps doing this well, we will see him on camera.
Yeah, guarantee. If he wins 7 more, we'll put him on camera. All right, so Robert has his hand. He's thinking about it. Looks like he's going to keep. All right, and so Derek leads off with the Overgrown Tomb and a Gravecrawler.
So essentially both players are trying to, like, what they're looking for in their opening hands is they're trying to establish a really strong synergy play. You know, Robert, if Robert pulls off a Revelation or a Primed Speaker, he's in a really good spot. Derek needs to assemble some sort of sacrifice engine, probably just by playing creatures and turning them sideways, is unlikely to be fast enough to deal all 20 points.
He's not fast enough, and he doesn't have the reach that we've seen in other decks.
Right, well, his reach is the sacrifice engine, and the thing is, his reach is a little bit stronger in that he could theoretically do all 20 points using his quote-unquote reach. You know, he could do close to that. But yeah, his actual straightforward game plan is a little weaker.
Okay. So we see Robert here far-seeking to accelerate on his turn 2. There's just a question about a card that was left on, from the deck on the
I kept it there.
board. We're going to get that result. Going to finish up shuffling, and then Derek's going to ship in with his Gravecrawler.
So
let's see if we can figure out what he's got in hand.
So he's found a second Gravecrawler. So now he has some zombie engine going. He does have he looks like he has a pair of a Messenger, a Blood Artist, and another Gravecrawler. So the Gravecrawler, kind of one turn too late in that his curve's gonna be a little messed up.
It might be a Tragic Slip in a Messenger.
It's strange if Tragic Slip would still be in the deck, but it could be. All right, so now he has Robert down to 14. Robert now has to put his own presence out on the board. He does have a Farseek and Azorius Charm. That might be his turn his play this turn. It appears he also has a Detention Sphere and a Smiter.
Yeah, and so putting out the Smiter here lets him it lets him block the Messenger for a turn. It doesn't really synergize very well with the Azorius Charm though, because you don't want to
can't charm
reset it. Yeah.
Right, and Derek doesn't really. He's fine. He's getting 4 damage in, or 3. Yeah, 3 or 4 damage. The resiliency where his deck shines is that the synergy of it lets him, makes his game plan harder to stop. A regular aggro deck might be affected by this wall, but he's still able to push damage wall or no wall.
Yep.
He has the option now to Tragic Slip.
And so we're certainly going to see a Gravecrawler this turn.
Yeah, he has Dragmangler, Gravecrawler, Tragic Slip, and then no other, and then lands.
Looks like he's got 2 Caverns. Yeah.
Right. The reason you make the slip play there, I mean, there's not many other good targets for it. He also wants to make sure he can clear the way for Dragmangler.
And so we may see Derek hold off on playing the, so one option he had was to hold off on playing the Gravecrawler in case Robert Supreme Verdicts here, so that he can get back the other Gravecrawler. But with the Dragmangler, he doesn't need to do that.
Exactly. So Robert has an Angel of Serenity, so he has something he's building up to. So he has a goal in mind. He needs to now figure out how to get there. Yeah. He has Restoration Angel, Azorius Charm, Farseek, Angel of Serenity, and I believe another land. I said, yeah, but at 10, things are starting to get, his life is starting to become somewhat dangerous here.
And so, one thing that is interesting here is that Azorius Charm, which is just this mainstay of the environment and is kind of the premier removal spell, is just really unimpressive against this particular deck. And this is something that we saw in the format before, and since Gatecrash, we really haven't had much experience with. And it's a little bit weird to see Azorius Charm just be so neutered.
Yeah, I mean, the strength of Azorius Charm is that it's often a removal spell. It's never dead. It always cycles.
Yeah.
So Derek really playing straightforward into Supreme. I mean, he's playing into Supreme Verdict right now.
He may have just decided that Robert can't have it because he didn't play it last turn. It would make sense for him to play it last turn.
Well, he's still putting Robert down to 3 here.
Yeah.
Tapping 5 for the Angel, 4 for the Angel. Probably just has to block Dragon Mangler. It's the only reasonable. I think that's the only reasonable block.
And so he ends up taking 8 from that, going down to 2.
I don't think Robert. Yeah, he needed like a Thrag Tusk there. Really, a lot of his matchups with Prime Speaker Bant decks, a lot of these matchups really. Thrag Tusk is really a crutch for the deck, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because the deck is so good with Thrag Tusk. Your Restoration Angels become insane, your Prime Speakers become insane. So there is a lot of that, but sometimes some of your Thrag Tusk hands can be really rough for the deck.
Yeah. So we have another Azorius Charm for Robert, which does mean that he can survive for another turn.
Yeah, he can Farseek and double Charm here, which isn't the worst. Putting both killing. Yeah, that actually seems reasonable.
He gets to trade off for the Messenger, get rid of both of the Grave Crawlers, and then Derek is just drawing Grave Crawlers for the next couple turns.
He still has to be worried about. There are things, a top deck Blood Artist, for example, wins the game for Derek.
Yep.
So he still needs to find a Revelation or a Thrag Tusk before he's out of the woods. You see Abrupt Decay. That's
it's not going to be very good.
Now that really surprised me. He's keeping it in for 2 Detention Spheres and 4 Smiters, and those are the only targets for it. Possible.
Yeah, I mean, Smiter can be such a roadblock if it comes out on turn 3.
I suppose that is fair.
Yeah, I kind of like keeping it in on the draw more than on the play. On the play, I think you're probably fast enough that you can beat a Loxodon Smiter.
I'm not sure how many. Apparently, he actually wants in this matchup. It's not in the main, so he decided that's something he actually, he actively wants to draw. Swing. Yeah, he's going for lethal.
A weird.
I'm surprised that he's not going to. He's going to opt to charm the Geralf's Messenger because that can kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna give lifelink, I believe. He's gonna give lifelink and charm a grave. I'm not sure. I would have thought you need to get rid of all 3 of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's giving lifelink.
So, it seems reasonable to give lifelink and block the.
This just seems to be a worse play. This seems to be a worse play than trading and putting both Grave Crawlers on top.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be able to recast the Grave Crawler he just killed. So he drops to 1, and Derek Boyko is going to get to recast Grave Crawler. All right. Well, things are still fine for Robert. He's going to get his Angel of Serenity. So Derek does not have a straightforward plan of how he's going to find that last point of damage. Angel of Serenity is going to. It's all in. He's going to take all of Derek's creatures.
But Robert's still just going to be in the danger zone.
I mean, certainly at 1 life is not. It's not exactly where we want to be. It probably will be enough.
Yeah.
Remember, Derek needs 2 creatures to get that last point of reach. He needs the Blood Artist and then something that has to die.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he does have a Tragic Slip. If Robert obliges by playing a Smiter, then all it will take is a. All it will take is a Blood Artist.
Well, so we actually already used the Tragic Slip, so...
he has the Abrupt Decay in hand.
Oh, yeah.
So if Robert obliges and plays something that dies to Abrupt Decay.
Or Derek plays the Grave Crawler that he
Alright, so now we're just on Blood Artist. But he doesn't have too many turns. He has about 3 turns to draw it.
Yeah. We're just going to get in there with the Angel of Serenity 3 times.
And I mean, he's drawn a creature.
Must have drawn a
clearly.
Thragtusk or something.
Yeah. If he's drawn a Thragtusk, then that's it. I think he did.
I think he shipped the turn, so probably an Angel of
Restoration
Angel.
Yeah, it has to be something. Victim. Oh my! And then the Victim of Night. Is that going to be lethal then?
Yeah. So
that is such a greedy attack, taking that extra turn. I don't know. I mean, well, to be fair, Victim actually just wins regardless.
Yeah, it kills the Angel of Serenity,
yeah,
and then you get back
the
Messenger and strain for 2, or kill him for 2.
Yep. Or if he drew Revelation,
Revelation.
that is not what he wants to see. So Revelation will be for 5, putting him up to 6.
Isn't it for 4? It looks like we've got 7 lands on the right side.
Okay, missing one. So for 4.
So Victim of Night.
So he'll be at 5 life.
Yeah.
And then he'll drop down to 3. 1 life. So Derek can put him back down to 1.
Yeah. But
still not 0.
Robert at 1 with Derek having a Geralt's Messenger in play is much more tenuous of a situation.
Absolutely.
For him. And he's going to be able to play that right now with the Cavern in his hand.
That Cavern set unsurprisingly is set to zombie.
Yes.
That one, I believe, also set to zombie.
All right. Robert, you're at 1. You need to peel. Or maybe you already peeled with the Sphinx's Revelation.
Right, he got 4 cards, perhaps needs a 5th. He has some lands, he has an Angel, he has an Azorius Charm. Azorius Charm can do a lot of work here if he can find if he does have another blocker.
Yeah.
He does have a Restoration Angel? So if he has a land
yes, he has a Restoration Angel. He's got lots of lands that come into play on
and
tap.
no Azorius Charm, so it's just all lands and Resto?
I think so.
Well, that's no good if that's all he has.
Yeah, it looks like all lands in Resto. It's a Breeding Pool, Glacial.
Yeah, I think he sees it too. There's no way.
Temple Garden.
I think he's chuckling the fact that he hit all lands off that. Yeah, it does not look like he's going to be able to get there.
Sometimes the first Sphinx's Revelation is not enough. And we're going to game 3. All right, so
Derek Boyko does get the win there. Yeah. Of note, Derek, people asking why he didn't Abrupt Decay his own Geralt's Messenger on that play. He didn't have the lands to do it. He spent 2 to Victim and then 3 to recast the Gravecaller. But yes, on the untapped, Derek does get to Abrupt Decay his own Geralt's Messenger. I believe that's what people are asking. Oh no, sorry. Going back, there is There is a play going back. He could use Abrupt Decay to not allow when he went for the lifelink play. He could Abrupt Decay his own Gravecaller to cancel the lifelink.
Oh, interesting.
Which would get it. Okay.
Right. So so at that point, Robert.
Provided, I'm not positive he had.
I think we drew the Abrupt Decay after the turn afterwards, though. But that would be a good heads-up play in that situation.
So we have. All right, so going to game 3 here. We still are seeing a matchup where I don't know. I still feel like Robert is somewhat favored here. I like his game plan seems pretty proactive in the matchup. I don't know. I'm playing it out. I still think I'd rather be on the life gain side right now.
I agree. I mean, so we've got lots of good cards to slow down this matchup, and so you just need to make sure that you keep a strong hand as Robert that is going to match up well, and that I've lost my train of thought.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
You need to make sure. He needs to make sure that he has a hand that has some way of stabilizing. Like I said, Thragtusk is so important in this matchup. You probably want a hand with either Thragtusk or Revelation. You don't want to keep like the all Farseek hand. This hand apparently has double Thragtusk in it, which is excellent. If he can get there, he's in a great spot.
Yeah, and he's got at least 1 Angel and a couple lands in his hand. Very quick start to game 2.
If he has Angel of Serenity, so that's not really a relevant card right now.
There's also a Revelation in his hand, which will be good eventually.
Yeah, so his hand's kind of like all the really big hits. I don't think right now it looks like he has no play until turn 4 Revelation for 1 or turn 5 Thragtusk.
Yeah.
Which
He really would have liked to have had a Farseek in that hand so that he can get going started.
I think Luxodon Smiter will take care of that. Drawn there, which is very helpful.
Sometimes, you draw the cards that you put in your deck so that you can win.
Derek with a multiple Lingering Souls hand. So his hand...
So Soul, Sign in Blood, Tragic Slip...
and Geralf's Messenger.
Geralf's Messenger and Dragmangler?
Yep, those are... Yeah. So he's going to have the Smiter a pretty sufficient roadblock right now.
So it looks like we're going to go for Souls here and just start pinging away.
Right. He could have, he could, I mean, it's probably not worth the discard to try to offer the trade there because the mana, you'd either have to discard 4 things or spend a mana, which would then mean you can't play your spell for the turn. Robert's hand, Robert bricking on his land is pretty important there.
Yep. Being able to get the Thragtusk online on time is a big part of Robert's plan.
Derek's giving him plenty. Will give him some time to draw lands here. His hand has a lot of inevitability, but not a lot of speed to it. Mm-hmm. So Derek choosing between a Sign in Blood, Flashback Souls, or just casting one of his 3 drops. The Sign in Blood Flashback play probably is, I don't know, I'd be inclined to make because then it allows him to get a 5th land and then a 6th land and continue to play spells at a higher velocity. He's opting just to make Lingering Souls here, so that right now he has the opportunity to cast it for 3, so that later on he can get a discount for it.
Yep. And he's planning so that next turn he can flash back to them both in case he doesn't draw a land.
Also, this allows him to leave up mana for a lot less troll in the case of Supreme Verdict.
Yep.
Which the other play did not do.
Alright, so we've drawn a land for the turn. So we're definitely shipping in with the tokens. Mm-hmm. Are we just going all in on Lingering Souls and making 8 tokens, or do we play around Supreme Verdict here? Right? Like at this point,
it's a possibility. I mean, I don't think it doesn't significantly increase your clock. You wanna right now he has Robert to 14, so he wants to make sure that he has Robert on a 2-turn clock. I think that's probably what's essential is playing here. He doesn't have enough to put him on a 1-turn clock.
Yeah.
So as long as you make sure your presence is 2 turns, you should be fine. So you could flash back 1 Lingering Souls this turn, and maybe the next one the 2nd turn. And if you pair it with the Dragmangler, that would be enough to kill him. Also, you can just play the Geralf's Messenger here. This puts Robert to 12, and on his swings next turn, he already has a swing for 6. This is probably the safest of plays. It leaves open his mana to regenerate right now and still ensures a 2-turn clock.
And it also provides additional protection against Supreme Verdict.
Right, Robert does hit the land though, so now
we're going to have the parade
we're going to have a parade of Thragtusks. So Derek's going to have to keep... Fortunately, Derek can keep pace with... he can keep pace on damage. He's dealing about 5 a turn. Mm-hmm. So the life gain of 5 isn't a problem. The counter swings are also only marginally a problem. I mean, he has a regenerating blocker and he has Lingering Souls in play. This is where Derek's deck is really neat in the late game, is that he's still probably pretty far ahead right now.
Yep. So we've drawn a Cavern of Souls for the turn. I think what we do is we start off by Sign in Blooding ourselves to see what our options are. That leaves open the possibility, I believe, of the double flashback of the Lingering Souls because we'll still have 4 untapped lands at that point. But being able to plan out with full information seems like the right first step here. Maybe get in for the 4 damage first, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, he doesn't have Sign in Blood. So it's possible that he has a I'm trying to think what pre-combat play he's digging for. Possibly he's digging for like Cartel Aristocrat or something.
Maybe a removal spell that would get rid of the that would get rid of the Smiter so that he can attack profitably with the Geralf's Messenger.
Yeah. He's playing play, so he's gonna swing swinging the team. He's gonna, I mean, or Blood Artist, because if he's already committed to swinging the Geralf's Messenger here, hitting a Blood Artist off the Sign in Blood is superior to not. Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to trade half of the Geralf's Messenger and a Tragic Slip for this Loxodon Smiter.
Exactly. And he doesn't need to Tragic Slip pre-damage here. So I think it doesn't actually.
And with Robert tapped out, it doesn't
matter when he does
but,
this.
Like it's
sure.
There is hygiene here.
The messenger should be
should
be untapped as well.
Comes in and play tapped.
Oh no, just kidding. It comes in and tapped. Right, he's the slow zombie.
You can tell how long it's been since we've played zombies.
Yes, I haven't seen the cards in a while.
We're a little bit rusty.
Absolutely.
All right.
Apologies. You're saying, it comes back, and then it's
and so Derek chooses not to flash back either the Lingering Souls.
Yeah, well, he wants to.
He wants to leave up the regen.
The regen mana is more important.
Yep. And he's still in a good position here such that he's happy not extending any further. He's got a clock. And he just wants to keep applying pressure with what he has and force Robert to blink.
Yeah, so if you're Derek right now, this is this should be a clear read on Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
There's, it's not realistic to believe that your opponent, who was stuck on 3 lands,
kept their
7-card hand, is out of gas at this point. You could say, he's probably playing Revelation for 2 would be the other thing you could think he'd have, but that doesn't sound like a good enough hand to keep.
Yeah. So does that change how you attack? It feels like you still need to attack with Lingering Souls because that's your plan.
Well, what else are you going to do? So, the Restoration Angel is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the bad news is that it's just going to happen, and it's gonna suck for you. He's gonna get a 3/3. He's gonna get 5 life. So, and a full
Wow. So we have 2 Drag Manglers and an attack with everything. Here's the Resto Angel.
Yep. Cavern is set to Advisor. The other Cavern is. Do we already have it?
For the Cartel Aristocrat?
Yep, Cartel Aristocrat is an advisor.
Alright, so we've got 3 blockers here.
Yeah, and these are going to get to do somewhat of a number.
So if we block the Troll and the Messenger and the Mangler, one of the Manglers, we take 7, putting Robert down to 9.
Yeah, this is a pretty... He puts Robert on. I remember Robert. Who he doesn't know is that Robert has another Thrag Tusk. It's pretty aggressive, a pretty aggressive play here. But Robert seems to be fine with how this is working. So he discarded a card. Yep, he discarded 1 card to the lot left troll to make sure it traded.
It was a Grave Crawler, so it's a free roll.
2 cards. So yeah, just one card there. So Robert drops to 7. Remember, there's all these Lingering Souls still in play for Derek, so Derek's going to get to have, he has to hope that Robert doesn't have Supreme Verdict. That's going to be something, especially with the time that they're at. Probably the clock on screen is correct. Derek's going to have to play this more aggressively than he normally would want to. Robert appears to be playing for the draw.
Yeah.
Which I think he has to do. I don't think he can reasonably play for the win here. He can, if he had more lands, if he'd drawn a land there, he could play for the win. He could hope to swing and then Angel of Serenity the board. But because he didn't draw that, there's just not a great line that wins it for him.
So Derek replays the Grave Crawler he discarded, and now he's intensely doing math. He's realizing that if he swings with his whole team, he's going to lose the 2 Drag Manglers and only get in for 3 damage.
Yeah, so this is turn 0. So time is called during this turn. So there'll be 3. There'll be 3 remaining turns for Robert and 2 more for Derek.
And so at this point, Derek has to be thinking about whether if he overextends, he actually has a chance of losing.
Right, and it seems unlikely. If I'm Derek, I'm counting to see how to win right now. Okay, 3 attacks. I have 3 attacks to work with.
Yep. So if he attacks here, he gets trade with Thrag Tusk, loses a Drag Mangler, gets in for 3 damage. Then he double flashbacks the 2 Lingering Souls, and he ends up with 5 souls and Grave Crawler versus a Restoration Angel with Robert at 9. Which by itself is enough to win the game.
Yeah, we're looking at just swinging the team.
Yeah.
Which I think is his best play. I don't really, a partial swing. All the partial swings look really bad.
Right. So like the choice we're making is either we alpha right now, or we wait till we build up more Lingering Souls tokens and try to alpha over 2 turns. But that seems like it's less likely to get the damage in and gives Robert more time to draw stabilizing plays.
Okay, so he's flashing back both Lingering Souls. And so it's possible he's going to say, yep, so what he's counting with 7 is interesting. So he's just going to, next turn alpha all the souls, then do it again. And
ooh, there's the Supreme Verdict.
That is certainly a strong draw for Robert David. So now, remember, this is turn 1. Robert's got to think if he can, if he can do anything here. Probably should have swung first. I don't think it would have done anything. It would have been a pretty big telegraph, but you never know. It's always possible that your opponent.
I mean, if you're in Derek's position, do you just take it and like? There's some chance that you're.
I chump.
Yeah.
The angel was trading with a spirit token anyway, so it can happen on my turn or his turn. Right. So now we're probably just looking at a draw. A lot less troll for Derek is all he really has.
Yeah, and he can make it quite a bit bigger with the Drag Manglers.
Robert forgot his and we did notice that Robert did forget a beast token. From when a beast token from Lotless Troll, when Lotless Troll traded with the Thrag Tusk the other time.
Yeah. We remembered it this time. So looks like we're playing the Lotless Troll and then scavenging onto it.
Right, and so now he's on a plan of just, he's going to keep scavenging more onto it. The problem is that that's not fast enough. No. Derek only gets 1 more attack. It's not actually enough damage.
It might be enough if he had an additional turn, but probably not even then. Like, Robert would almost certainly be able to stabilize through this.
Some sort of,
Yeah, he's got a ton of cards in hand.
What it does do is makes a great blocker.
Yeah.
Prime Speaker is Zagana. Robert probably doesn't deal 14 here. This is turn 3. Robert's going to have to come up with some way to deal 14 on turn 5. Which...
He's got 7 power in play. He doesn't have any creatures.
I don't see how that would happen.
This game is going to turn into a draw unless there's something absolutely unforeseen that comes up. Robert's played his land for the turn, so he's going to be passing after he discards a card or 2. And I think what we'll see is, Derek will scavenge some more, cast a spell, and then pass the turn back without attacking.
2 lands, so his only play is to scavenge and pass.
Yeah.
He can make a Gravecrawler if he wants. That doesn't do anything, but so it can't actually block.
Discard.
He made a Gravecrawler.
Yeah.
He decided he didn't want to do it to leave up regen mana. He'll swing lot left throw. That is a swing.
Is 8 more than 10? No, 8 is not more than 10.
That's a strange attack.
He's probably figuring that Robert can't possibly kill him because
I don't think
creatures.
He can, but it's obvious that he can't kill Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, so what he might threaten here is if he left up double black, Robert would have to chump because Derek might sign and blood him.
Yeah.
That would be
or Derek
a bluff.
Or Robert has to chump because Derek could have 2 creatures in hand.
But that doesn't matter because it's the last turn. Oh, you have 2 creatures. You're right. Yeah.
To discard to Lotless Troll, but
there's a number of bluffs Derek can run. But the problem is on the last, there's no point to bluffing here.
Yeah.
Because you just can't deal the damage.
Yep.
Attention Magic players, John
Okay, so Derek gets to have the cool play of kill your stuff.
So maybe this is maneuvering for asking Robert to concede.
Yeah, I don't think it would happen.
It's not very effective.
Robert has drawn a detention sphere here and an Angel of Serenity. I think if this plays out, I think Robert wins.
I agree.
To me.
I agree.
But on the other hand, Derek would probably never play Lingering Souls like that in that situation either. So always hard to say. It's really hard to, and a draw was declared. It's really hard to say who should have won a match because people's play behavior changes based on time constraints.